warm summer's evening in El Paso, Texas. Good evening, everyone. Duke Keith along with Michael Balagan with you. Yes, we will have a hydration break. I am most certain of that, at least in the first half. As Locomotive FC looking to regain some of its own heat after a 3-1 loss, Michael, on Wednesday to San Antonio FC.
Yeah, it's been a really tough 5-game run for them. They haven't won in the last 4 of the 5, so they're looking to regroup and come out and get back on track in this game against Real Monarch.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights from Wednesday evening against San Antonio. Eighth Notch was in full voice in Section 105, but Frank Lopez ready to do some poaching on loan from Galaxy 2. How about that for the start of his San Antonio career? El Paso thought it had tied things up. Sebastian Contreras deflected in by Omar Salgado, but that one was later ruled offside. El Paso did get things even. Andy Fox, that was off of a corner kick, bounced around a little bit. Fox, right place, right time, but into stoppage time in the first half. The perfect ball to Frank Lopez. In it goes 2-1, and that was followed in the second half by a 47-minute weather delay. Bradford Jameson from Billy Forbes, though, to put him up 3-1. That was 2 minutes after the rain delay was over, and that's the way it wound up. As El Paso, again, trying to regain some of that mojo. They'll be doing so against a very hot team in Real Monarchs. They've won their last 5 matches in a row, but both of these teams really very different from that matchup in mid-March, Locomotive FC's first road game.
Yeah, they've last played against each other on March 16th, which was both teams' second game of the season. It was El Paso's first away game as a franchise. So both teams are completely different. They look different. They've added players. Real Monarch has a new coach in Jameson Olave. So it's a completely different group from what it was back in March.
Martin Vasquez resigned on July 1st, and Olave, for the second consecutive year, will take over as the interim coach for Real Monarchs. It wound up being a 0-0 draw. This is a team, though, in Real Monarchs that scores a lot of goals. So El Paso, very impressive to hold them to no goals at home.
Yeah, they're going to have to keep an eye on Douglas Martinez, who's on stride right now, who's the leading goal scorer for Real Monarchs. You're going to have to keep an eye on him tonight, and the Locomotives are going to have to keep an eye on him tonight.
Starting lineups next as we continue. Welcome back, everybody. Southwest University Park is the place as the smoke begins to clear on a warm Saturday evening. Duke Keith, Michael Balagan with you. Let's take a look at the Real Monarchs starting 11. And one noticeable difference will be Douglas Martinez, player of the week this week, scored a hat trick in their last match He's not a part of the starting lineup tonight, Mike.
That's a key loss for Real Monarch, not having him in the lineup. I'm not sure why he's not in the lineup. However, they're a team having a lot of confidence coming to this game with a lot of confidence, having won their last 5 game. So they're looking to capitalize on a El Paso group that's not really done well in their last 5 games.
David Ochoa, also the starting netminder usually for this Real team, is up with the senior side, RSL this evening, and so it will be Andrew Putna in goal for Real Monarchs. For Locomotive FC, as you see, Jerome Kiesewetter, kind of a game-time decision from what we understand, will not make the starting lineup, but you see that number 7, Sebastian Velasquez, is in the starting lineup tonight.
That's exciting for the Locomotive fam to have a player of the quality of Sebastian Velasquez in the lineup tonight. He's going to have to come up big, and he's going to have to push the attack for the Locomotive to have success in tonight's game.
Mark Lowry with some thinking to do as he shakes hands with our officials this evening. Kalin Radosov is the center referee. Assistant referees Noah Kenyawani and Francisco Bermudez. Our 4th official is Marco Vega. An interesting this evening as they try to make it all work. The flags are waving tonight at Southwest University Park as we are almost underway. Good to see Nick Ross in the starting lineup for Locomotive FC. Had to leave in the 32nd minute Wednesday with a laceration to his knee. It was a deep cut, but not so deep that he won't make the starting lineup tonight.
Yeah, in the post-game interview, Coach Mark Lowry talked about the laceration to Nick Ross and how he had to get stitches and not sure whether he was going to be available for this game. But it's great to see him available for this game, and we'll see how he gets on with that injury.
One of the things to keep an eye on is Locomotive FC's defense. Real Monarchs coming in 5th in the league in goal scoring. They have plenty of goals to their credit. Just 4 clean sheets for Real Monarchs. So the defensive side has needed some work, but it just means that El Paso's matchup early in the going in mid-March is all the more impressive. A 0-0 draw in Salt Lake City. Of course, Martin Vasquez resigning on July the 1st for Real Monarchs. For the 2nd consecutive year, Jameson Olave. And here is a shot off the crossbar. That is Omar Salgado.
That's a really good start for the Locomotive. You see the grit and the grind of Sebastian Velasquez tackling the ball in the midfield, winning it for Nick Ross to drive towards goal, slip Omar Salgado in. He's got to finish that. With Jerome Kiesewetter not in the lineup, they've got to get goals from someone else, and Omar Salgado has to step up in this game.
Just over a minute into the match, and Salgado already challenging. Sebastian Velasquez already showing his mettle as well. On the other side, Michael Chang, who will be taking up a lot of the slack in the absence of Douglas Martinez. But again, we do not know why he is not in the lineup. He is the USL Championship Player of the Week on 9 goals this season for Real Monarchs. He is not here, but that's not much of a drop-off. Michael Chang, 8 goals this season for the Cuban, 2nd on the team. But as we were talking about, Jameson Olave, once again the interim coach for Real Monarchs. 2nd straight year he has had to take over. Former center back for RSL, 2010 Defender of the Year in Major League Soccer. Which is interesting. Vasquez coming from the RSL Academy, which is a very highly thought of academy system.
Martin Vasquez was very integral in the development of their Casa Grande program, and to see him get rewarded with that, with the opportunity for the Real Monarchs. Not sure exactly why he's no longer with the group. However, he was a big part of the organization.
Conrad Plewa clears it away for Real Monarchs. There's a chip. Rebellon going for Salgado. Interesting thought. Andrew Putna easily handles though. One clean sheet for Putna this year. This will be his 5th start for Real Monarchs. And again, the outstanding young keeper, David Ochoa. We were talking before the game, and you were saying this is the man who's going to replace Nick Raimondo. That, though Nick Raimondo is one of the more diminutive goalkeepers in all of Major League Soccer, that is, he's made some large shoes to fill in Salt Lake City.
Those are some massive shoes to fill for David Ochoa. However, they have the confidence in the young man. He did very well. He's done very well this season with Real Monarchs, and just recently had the opportunity to represent the U20 men's national team in Poland at the FIFA World Cup. So he's a player that's earning attention and has got some experience at a very young age.
Good work by Stanley Okumu. Kenyan defender staying in front of the ball, or between the ball anyway, and Omar Salgado is able to turn that back up. At least initially for Real Monarchs, it will be a throw-in. Brian Rebellon. Looks to go back for Becky. Fox. And James Kiffey. Stalwart at that left back spot all season long. Here's Becky. He wants to go long to Rebellon. That is onside. And it is out of play.
We see early on in this game, Real Monarch very content to sit back, hold a mid block, and wait for the Locomotive to come at them. Haven't possibly taken some cues from the early season game against Oklahoma City, the Ford Madison game, recognizing that the Locomotive are going to have to break them down, going to have to find space to play in, which is difficult when they're holding that mid block.
Well, one of the things about Locomotive, their 23 goals ties them for 26th in the USL Championship. Of the 13 teams with 25 or fewer goals, only Sac Republic in 8th in the West. That's behind El Paso in 6th. Charleston Battery in 9th and Charlotte Independence in 10th are in playoff contention. It's not enough goals, and Mark Lowry addressed that pretty directly after the San Antonio loss Wednesday.
Yeah, when you have the likes of Jerome Kiesewetter, who has 10 goals on the season, and then the next closest player is on 2. That's not enough productivity from the rest of the group. He's very open and honest about that. That's why the likes of Sebastian Velasquez is in this game. That's why he was brought in to be able to pick up some of that goal-scoring need that they have.
We'll get into it later. What a story Sebastian Velasquez has. Born in Medellin, Colombia, came over at the age of 3 with his mother in search of the father. They found him in Greenville, South Carolina, which is where they made a home. Velasquez has battled all sorts of demons throughout his personal life and professional life, for that matter, and has done so successfully. Back in the United States, back in the USL Championship, here's Richie Ryan. Up to Mr. Velasquez. Brian Rebellon back to Drew Becky. One of the things about this rather makeshift, at least as far as I would think the Locomotive FC coaching staff is concerned, back line is going to be the performance of that man, Brian Rebellon, Drew Becky, and Andrew Fox, the 2 center backs. Wednesday was not their finest hour.
Yeah, they really struggled on Wednesday, dealing with the pace and the power of San Antonio. So in this game, we'll see how they do. Right now, they have all the time in the world to be able to swing the ball side to side. They're going to have to be alert and sharp for that transition moment. When they lose the ball, are they in a position? Do they recognize where the center forward is, and are they able to defend and not get beat over the top like they did against San Antonio?
Good clearance on Derek Gebhard there by Noah Powder. Powder, the 5'11" left back from Edison, New Jersey. Searching ball looking for Velasquez from Rebellon. Just a couple of Colombian guys making things happen on a field in El Paso, Texas. Nice ball for Ryan. Velasquez to the left wing and Kiffey. Ross trying to slide one through, mistimed. Looking for the run of Derek Gebhardt. That's actually Chaperera and Jermaine Forta. As you saw in the starting lineup, Logan Ketterer, 8 clean sheets in the season. The leg injury is keeping him out of the lineup, and that's a foul. Jermaine Forta, native of the United Kingdom, came up in the West Ham Academy. He's got some bona fides to him, but it is his first league start for Locomotive FC this season. As we see the foul, Rebellon. Taken down from behind, and trying to shake off the effects of that is Luis Palma. And it'll be Kiffey on the restart. Right or left? You want that guy's wand. And in it goes. Not just wide. Drew Becky got a head in there. It was deflected, though, and it will be the first corner kick of the evening. Kiffey will come over to do that. He has delivered some beautiful balls to Jerome Kiesewetter this season, and seemed like in the early going, Mark Lowry trying to settle on who was going to be delivering corners. It will be James Kiffey. Lofted into the box, headed out of trouble, but not all the way out here. Rebellon, the cross, far post over everybody's head. Kiffey to settle it. Velasquez. Rebellon. That's ramped up and over the back line. Another corner kick coming. And Palma's down. Like Martinez, a fellow Honduran on the Real Monarchs roster. He looks like he took one off the side of the head.
Doesn't look good when a player goes down immediately like that. Hope he's okay.
Kyle Simkovich, the trainer for Real Monarchs, on to take a look. And he is not feeling well.
You saw him shaking his head. Whatever the trainer was asking him, seems to be in quite a bit of pain.
And you see the signal to the sideline and to Jameson Olave. Hold off on the sub, but he will have to come off the field for this corner kick. See if we get a better angle on that. Maybe something to the back of the head or off the back. Seems to have shaken it off well enough. Here's Kiffey to deliver the ball. Far post and straight into the waiting mitts of Andrew Putna goes Ryan. Oh, wide open at the far post, but Richie Ryan would probably like to have that one back.
That's a great delivery from James Kiffey. We've talked about the quality of his service so far this season into Jerome Kiesewetter. He has a few assists off of Jerome Kiesewetter, and now he's on set piece duties, and he's done a great job in delivering balls into dangerous areas for the Locomotive.
Richie Ryan unmarked at the far post. But the veteran Irishman cannot make Real Monarchs and Andrew Putna pay for that mistake. Little early challenge, but Okumu getting rid of it quickly to Chang. Commits the foul, and that'll give the ball right back. Locomotive will be patient. We saw that one sequence against Sac Republic earlier this season, a combination of, it was like 29 passes delivered before the goal. And Locomotive still leading the league in terms of pass completion percentage. 85.3 coming into tonight. That is a full percentage point, actually 3 full percentage points better than the next closest teams. Kiffy trying to keep it. Good work by Etundi. Brought away by Velasquez. Good lead to Gebhardt. He tries one. It's deflected, and another corner coming for El Paso. Good early pressure.
That's well done by Sebastian Velasquez to find a little bit of space in that midfield, in that congested midfield of the Real Monarch. Be able to turn and find the ball into Derek Gebhardt.
Against teams that try to pack things in a bit, it is probably going to take a playmaking midfielder to make those, to kind of break through the lock, so to speak.
Absolutely. It's gonna be a player getting in a good position, finding a little bit of space, doing a good job finding space.
Kiffy far post, knotted again by Ryan. Cleared out of trouble. Real Monarchs and Michael Chang do the honors.
Another good delivery from James Kiffy.
Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Just talking about Sebastian Velasquez. He has the whole league abuzz. There was an article written by John Arley at uslchampionship.com about what Mark Lowry's trying to do to kickstart this Locomotive attack. Interestingly, Jerome Kiesewetter, it's been over a month since he scored a goal after being player of the month from May. Something, anything, but you also have some connections to the Houston and Major League Soccer scene, if not the global scene, who are very, very impressed with El Paso's new number 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone I've talked to has raved about Sebastian Velasquez and what he's able to do, how technical of a player he is, and just the quality he's going to bring to this Locomotive team. It's exciting to have a player of his caliber with this group. It's just going to be a matter of time till we see him give, sort of like Mark Lowry talked about, see him get game fit, really develop that continuity within the group, and start gelling.
Coming back to the United States from South Korea. That was a very hopeful long ball. Forda will keep it in play. Delivered out of the back by Plowa. Kind of a loose pass. Kiffy there to clean it up. Coach Lowry had talked about that in depth after Wednesday's loss. Not only the lineups as Locomotive are a collection of walking wounded, as Real Monarchs looking to cross this one high and way too high. Jermaine Forda will let that one come into the hands and keep it in motion.
That's where the Locomotive have to be careful in that build-up, because they have so much time and so much space on the ball. They can't be sloppy in the build-up because of how wide open they are, how spread out they are in the build-up. If any pass gets picked off, they're off on the races.
Chaparrera tripped up by Noah Powder. That'll give the restart to El Paso. You could see the patience in the build-up. They moved it off to the left. Luis Palma, though, delivering a high floating ball that Forda easily was able to capture. Anything more direct, anything quicker might provide problems. And here is Salgado, left to Kiffy. Kiffy crossing, and the first time did not miss by much by Derek Gebhardt, but it did miss.
That's well done by Andrew Fox to recognize the space in front of him and drive into it. He did a great job of eating that space, forcing Real Monarch to back up, and then finds Omar Salgado with a good ball, and he was able to get it out wide. That's well done. Good recognition of the space by Andrew Fox.
Fans follow El Paso Locomotive FC and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home of the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who've already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Good ball from Ross. The cross to no avail from Velasquez. Palma under a bit of pressure. Real Monarchs able to keep it out. Here's Michael Chang. Palma. Jack Blake. He's third on the list of goal scorers, 5 this season for Real Monarchs.
You see both teams almost playing sort of that low mid block, recognizing it is 100 and something degrees here in El Paso. I believe it was 102 at kickoff. So when it's that hot, you're going to have to manage the workload and how you press and choosing your moments wisely. You see El Paso starting off in a high press, and now sort of dropping it off and letting Real have a bit of possession.
Real Monarchs 37 goals scored. Again, that is 5th in the USL Championship. However, 29 goals allowed. Trying to go left was Kiffey, looking for Ross. And again, it is great to see the Scotsman. I saw him after the match Wednesday night. Laceration to his knee. Typical Scotch attitude. Told me it was only a scratch. Well, can the accents for the rest of the evening, maybe. Here's Fox. Kiffey and Ross. Gets it out to Salgado, and that is a flying elbow. And it will be a caution issued to Stanley Okumu. I think he's seen some of Omar's highlights. He knew what would happen if he let number 9 stride around him, and Omar took one right to the beak.
He's lucky there not just to get a yellow card. That's a elbow, a hand to the face of Omar Salgado. He's very fortunate. He's a very, very fortunate young man not to be seeing the locker room really early in this game.
21st minute caution issued to Okumu. As our official center ref, Colin Radosov, goes straight to the front pocket. And that'll give Kiffey a free kick. A bit of distance here, but Kiffey delivers good balls, and it's in that dangerous area off to the left of the 18-yard box. Kiffey. Becky had a pretty decent look. Glanced out, it will remain Locomotive's ball. Somebody did get a piece for Real Monarchs. Bit of a glancer for Drew Becky. Looking forward to the documentary about his life. Here's a guy who's overcome a heart condition. It's Ross. Nice ball. Looking for Gebhard and lifted out for the corner off the feet of Okumu. Still defending the documentary about Drew Becky and how he has dealt with that condition after finding it out. Is, to my understanding, out soon. Another corner kick, though, for El Paso. Another delivery for Kiffey. The header wide by Fox. It'll be a goal kick. Fox up and over his man, but was not able to beat that squarely.
With Jerome Kiesewetter out in this game, or out the last 2 games, James Kiffey has found a new favorite target in Andrew Fox. Targeted him quite a few times, quite a bit in that San Antonio game, and you've seen him look for Andrew Fox on more than one occasion, or more than 2 occasions so far in this game.
Radosov with a word for Michael Chang. Whistled the restart dead. Good effort to spring loose here by Etundi. The cross is not on target. Kiffy will loft this one into space. Salgado, he's going to take the bounce and try to control, and will. Right away from Okumu. Okumu does well to get back in front of him, and that's going to be a foul on Salgado. Okumu beaten after it popped up on him, but was able to survive and stay in front.
Yeah, Stanley Okumu showing his pace, recognizing that all he had to do was get his body across Omar Salgado to draw the foul. Doing a really good job defending Omar Salgado in that situation.
Column being urged for Locomotive FC's Luis Chapa Herrera now. Tempers heating up a bit like the temperatures tonight in this first half. We're only 25 minutes into the match. That one was mistimed. Michael Chang, it'll go into touch for Locomotive FC. Fans, yes, go ahead.
I'd anticipate the hydration break will be coming soon.
Trying to get that cross at Jundi. And it'll be the first corner for Real Monarchs. Usually around the 30-minute mark. When we see it, I think that Real Monarchs wanted a handball called. It is not. Giving the ball a little smooch as he comes ready to deliver is Noah Powder. Made a couple of starts for the youth national team of Trinidad and Tobago, U17 and U20 player. Here is Powder. Jermaine Forda getting the start for Logan Ketterer, out with a leg injury tonight. Powder, good ball to the back post, but there on the scene first was Becky. That'll keep it out of the reach of Okumu. Not quite out of trouble yet, Real with the throw in. Nice long one, but Becky again with the head, clearing it out of trouble. Okumu trying to get there. Kiffy. Good work to bring that back down. Chapa Herrera, though, lost a handle. It'll bounce to Ryan. Locomotive FC trying to pass their way out of the defensive third. Here's Richie Ryan. Patient as always.
That's well done by the Locomotive to be composed and work their way out of that pressure from Real Monarch.
Miscommunication, Rebellon. Looks like Salgado wanted it in a different spot. Mark Lowry lost the best dressed coach competition to Troy Lesane just because Troy wears that suit. Quite an interesting fan vote, and I think this was going to be a goal kick. Yep. Blast off of Etundi.
You see the pace of Etundi when he chooses to put pressure on the center backs. They're going to have to be alert on that and communicate with Jermaine Forder in his first game in the league to make sure he's not sneaking in behind and he's not causing problems for them.
Kiffy. Back to Becky. And Rebellon. Side to side they go. Kiffy and back to Fox. Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy, allowing clubs at all levels across the United Soccer League to develop local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit USLsoccer.com/academy. Nice loft to the ball, looking for Gebhardt. First in the scene, though. Real Monarchs and Stanley Okumu. And an injured player. That is Etundi. And I believe we are doing our hydration break right now, here in the 29th minute. As you would expect, and why not? Water all around. As you mentioned, 102 at kickoff here in El Paso, Texas. The sun has set in the Sun City. Sebastian Velasquez there on the sidelines. We'll see how long he stays in tonight, but there you see, signed on July 9th, drafted by Real Salt Lake, where he was in the midfield for them for 3 seasons, 2012 to 2014, 38 appearances, a couple of goals, but with Real Monarchs, 16 goals and 47 appearances for 2 seasons before heading to South Korea. And again, what a story. If you haven't read it, here's a guy who has overcome alcohol abuse. He has confessed that he is an alcoholic. He missed a big penalty for Real Salt Lake a few years back. Went to Colombia after that and basically drank for 3 days straight. He is sober, been sober for 4 years, he is proud to say, and is back in the United States of America. What a story, this guy.
Yeah, you love to hear about players like that overcoming adversity, recognizing that he's been blessed with and he's been given a gift and with the ability to play the game of soccer. So for him to recognize that and now fully use his talents and his skills is really impressive. So really looking forward to see how he does and how he meshes with this group in El Paso. I know the guys in the locker room have been very welcoming. They're excited to have him. So it's a great time for not just the El Paso Locomotive team, but also for Sebastian Velasquez.
And he's about to be a daddy again. About 2 weeks from the birth of his second child. All the best to Sebastian Velasquez and his wife and their family. Went to Suwon, South Korea, played in the South Korean League. He had 8 matches and decided that it'd be best to just make his way back to the States. So yes, you're right. He's still working to try and get game fit. And it makes me wonder if maybe at some point in the second half we see one playmaking midfielder replace the other. Mark Lowry has at least one piece of luxury. Sebastian Contreras is on the bench tonight.
Absolutely.
Not too many other options in other places, but he has a number 10.
I don't anticipate Sebastian Velasquez will play the full 90 tonight. You've got to be really cautious and mindful of how much load you put on players that are not match fit when to avoid injuries and things of that nature. So Mark Lowry's going to keep that in mind and really monitor Sebastian Velasquez in this game.
But wanted to give him the start as that one doesn't go where Real Monarchs wants it to go. And here's Ross, slow roller, and it's intercepted. Looking to find Velasquez, but easily handled by Noah Powder. Locomotive, though, keeping possession. Here's Kiffy. Gebhardt. It'll make its way back to the Irishman, Richie Ryan. Rolls one, tried to find a way through to Kiffy. But that is well intercepted by Michael Chang.
And you see what Real Monarchs are trying to do. They're holding that line, looking to anticipate those balls into the midfield, win them, and quickly find Etundi at the number 9. As soon as they find him, they're looking to run off of him and get him behind. If that's not on, then they'll circulate the ball, move it side to side, and look for the right opportunity to go forward.
Good chase here, though, by Velasquez, and that will push Portillo all the way back. Blake and Palma trying to combine for something on the left, but Locomotive shut those doors. Now a long ball to Palma. Too long. Goal kick for Jermaine Forda. Forda's been a part of the Cosmos organization here in the United States. Of course, coming through the Weston Youth Academy in his native London. Probably about 5'11", but he plays 6'11" with a mouth.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the more vocal players you will ever hear.
Would love to see him get mic'd up for a training session or a game.
They're going to have to turn down the mic. Make sure that volume level's low. Gebhardt taken down from behind. Play on, says the referee. All ball for Okumu. Along the right side, here's Michael Chang. Chang, nifty flip, gets the back heel. Top of the box, Blake, and that shot is deflected. Well done, Luis Chaperrera. Coming over to stop Palma at the very last.
Good recovery from Chaperrera. Again, that's what Real Monarchs are looking to do. Win those balls in the midfield and then try to expose the Locomotive being so open and spread out in their build-up.
And pardon me, that was Etundi, right in the middle. The bright yellow, the highlighter yellow shoes, not the highlighter orange shoes.
I will say this is a much different approach by Real Monarch in comparison to the game on March 16th. Jameson Olave is a defender, and I would venture to say that's why they're set up in a more defensive system.
Which you would expect, I guess, on the road. Only 2 road wins this season for Real Monarchs. Coming in with an 8-6-3 mark, 27 points. They're right behind Locomotive FC in the Western Conference, though. Locomotive FC looking for their first win since July 15th. They have had some good road tilts. Earned points on the road, but the last win was a while back, and that's going to be tackle from behind on Chaperrera, who says he got all ball. Callan Radosov disagrees. Blake pays the price.
It's good work from Chaperrera, recovering the ball after losing it. Does get part of the ball, but definitely makes a lot of contact with Jack Blake.
Noah Powder making some moves. Richie Ryan blows that up. Ryan going backward to Becky. Releases the pressure off to James Skiffy on the left. It's funny, you watch Richie Ryan, and it's almost like you'd never know he's there because he's never really on the ball. This is probably the longest he's spent on the ball all night. And what a pass to Omar Salgado. Again, great recovery run by Okumu. Play on, they say. Gebhardt in the box. It'll bounce for Ross. Ross whips into the cross, looking for Rebellon. Out up top. Velasquez just misses.
That's a great ball from Nick Ross to Brian Rebellon. Very surprised that he didn't look to have that first time. Looking to find Sebastian Velasquez, looking to get him involved in this game, understanding how much confidence he can gain from scoring his first goal here at Southwest University Park. Well done by the Locomotive.
Rebellon electing to go back to his Colombian brother. And just a little wide to the left with the left foot. Locomotive have certainly had probably the best 2 chances, including one in the opening minute from Salgado. But it remains goose eggs on the scoreboard. It's funny, we were talking about Richie Ryan again, longest he spent on the ball, but they gave him the space. The veteran Irishman knows what to do. He's going to go straight up the middle.
He's a football player, as he would say. Doesn't care for the flash. The attention, just gets on with business. He's a 1-2 touch player. Like you said, that was the longest he's been on the ball. I think he took maybe 4 or 5 touches on that. after that second or third one, he's probably asking, looking for help because he's not used to being on the ball that long.
He was definitely looking to send it to somebody, but that's the thing, is like you see it come to him, he already knows where he wants to put the ball. And more often than not, 90% of the time, it's going to make it exactly where he wants it to be.
Absolutely, and that's why he's able to play the game and still play it at the age of 34. He thinks 2-3 moves, 2-3 passes ahead, which helps him stay ahead when the legs get tired.
Good loft by Kiffey, but it's bounced into touch. James Moberg. First touch of the evening, I believe, for Real Monarchs. Back to Andy Fox. And it's good to see Chiro and Toko talking about some of the veterans for this Locomotive team. And Toko in his 30s as well. He's on the bench tonight, trying to get his way back from injury. Yuma not active this evening. That has been a slow recovery. It's been over a month for Yuma. The Spaniard playing that double pivot with Ryan, kind of a dual number 6 role. But as Richie Ryan is the facilitator from the back to the front, trying to get Velasquez involved again. It is Yuma who is the glue. He's the hard man who's going to get stuck in the midfield. And El Paso Locomotive FC certainly missing his efforts. That's not even mentioning Mishak Jerome, who's been out since suffering an Achilles injury at the Gold Cup for his native Haiti. And he is most likely done for the entire season. How about Omar Salgado? Moves along the wing. Did it go too far? Indeed it did. Over the back line.
That's well done by Omar to turn the corner. That last touch just gets away from him. Trying to drive towards that end line and give his teammates time to get inside the box. Recognizing it's only Derek Gebhardt in there, so wanted to get as close to the end line so more players can get involved. Unfortunate not to be able to get that cross off and taking a long touch.
Well, Locomotive FC has certainly looked the more dangerous team. Really, only one serious foray into the Locomotive attacking or defensive third for Real Monarchs in this match so far. Not to say it can't happen. It happened in a hurry a couple of times versus San Antonio Wednesday. Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for El Paso Locomotive FC, then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on El Paso's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. There's a foul and a card ready to be issued. To the front pocket again. And the second caution, this time coming to Luis Palma in the 42nd minute. And El Paso certainly, they've been able to show some athleticism, some speed. They've challenged Real Monarchs at the back. Drawn a couple of cautions already. So this is working the way Mark Lowry wants it to, still looking for the end product.
And I think that with the injuries to Jerome Kiesewetter, who's going to step up for the Locomotive team and be able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Kiffey, that one is not where he wanted it to go. Headed out by Okumu. Brought back again, here is Salgado. Salgado, low driving cross. Blasted into touch by Powder. Ross, a little give and go with Velasquez, and it's not going in a straight line. Chang will throw it in. Portillo from Moberg. Up to Blake. Chang, and Locomotive seems to have things pretty solid right there in the very middle of the park. Both of these teams cautious in the El Paso heat. This late July summer evening. How about Richie Ryan? Good thought to step in. Didn't quite get it where he wanted to go. And a good ball up the way. Blake, though, on the back pass, stopped by Herrera. Blake will throw it back in. Luis Arriaga. He'll cross it to Chang. Chang up top. Nicely intercepted by Drew Becky. Well worked up to the point where they got the pass into Arriaga, and Becky had that one seen all the way through. Here's Gebhardt making some moves up the wing. Gets taken down, and they will call the foul.
You need more of that from Derek Gebhardt with his pace and his ability to run at defender and put them on their heels. He's got to look to do that more and more in this game. If he's able to do that, he'll either draw fouls or create opportunities for the Locomotive.
And Okumu needs to be careful. He's already on a yellow. 21st minute for the elbow against Omar Salgado. Locomotive FC will have this free kick. Velasquez. Rebellon with a touch to start it back, and they'll cross to Kiffy. Kiffy. Nice step back. Pulls the trigger on this one. Makes its way over, but not high enough. Back it comes to Kiffy from Salgado. Velasquez ready to go to work. 1 against 2. Does pretty well. Kiffy rolls it back. That was not on target. Intercepted again. Ryan saw where that one was coming, up to Velasquez. And they will rule it in touch for Real Monarchs. There will be 3 minutes of stoppage time. Couple of slight injuries plus the hydration break. So says Colin Radisov.
Solid first half from Sebastian Velasquez in his first game with the group. You can see the quality of the player that he is. He's able to be composed under pressure, really slow the game down when he needs to, but also accelerate and increase the tempo when it's needed. So that's gonna be crucial and productive for the Locomotive as this game goes on.
Trying to get some control is Etundi. Brought away, and here's Rebellon. Brian Rebellon, who, among other things, was almost an Olympic swimmer for his native Colombia. Very accomplished young man. Kiffy. Ross, Ryan, Velasquez. A little room to roam for the Colombian. Nice job up to Gebhardt. The cross is slid back over by Powder, who got there in time. Omar Salgado was ready to just touch that into the back of the net. Never got there.
And again, the one player that's involved in all that action, and all the action is Sebastian Velasquez, finding a way to get in that space and slip the ball into Derek Gebhardt. Again, there he goes, looking for Nick Ross.
Ross zigged when he should have zagged. And again, yeah, the kid's been here. I say kid, he's 28. He's been here for roughly a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Signed on July 9th, but had to get back overseas, get all of his paperwork in order. He's been practicing with the team pretty steadily for about a week and a half or so. But still kind of working on the timing, isn't he?
Absolutely, and that's gonna take time.
Indeed. Nice cross, and Forda sees there's no one there to threaten Luis Palma behind the play, and that was delivered off target. He'll let it roll into touch. Tune into ESPN3 July 24th, the special afternoon edition of Wednesday Night Soccer. Surging Reno 1868 FC storming into Orange County to meet an OCSC side looking to climb closer to a playoff berth. That's July 24th on ESPN3. Again in the afternoon. We are just about into the final few seconds. Ross steering one through. Salgado gets a piece but slipped down, and that would have been offside anyway. And that is our first half of play. No score at the end of the first 45. Sebastian Velasquez in his first match with El Paso Locomotive FC. You can already see the quality showing through. 0-0 at the break. Michael and I will return with halftime statistics, a look at the highlights, including that, and a little more besides as we continue on a hot July evening in El Paso, Texas.
Welcome back to Southwest University Park. At halftime, the score is El Paso Locomotive FC 0, Real Monarch FC 0. March 16 saw these two teams square off in Utah with the score being 0-0. Both teams have had drastic change since then. Here's what the Locomotive had to say about where the team is now.
Guys are happy. The guys are happy with how they play. We've created a lot of chances, so we're going to go in this weekend really confident with the form that we're in right now.
Two contrasting styles. You're going to see one team that very obviously worked on their offensive preseason, and you have the Monarchs, which very obviously worked on their defensive formation in preseason. So it's going to be a fun matchup, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Avila takes a crack, pushed up and over the bar, settled, shot, and pushed wide. Can he find space? Contreras, shot.
I feel like right now we are more confident in having the ball. Having the possession of the ball for us is vital. We really need to have the ball to create our chances, and I feel like right now we are more confident on the ball, moving the ball side to side and penetrating those free spaces, and I feel like right now we are a better team than we were when we faced Monarchs in the first game.
Yeah, it's a different game, I think, from the first one. I think we played them on the second game last time, and like you said, we were still developing, still getting our team together, and I think we've got a pretty set chemistry set on the team, so yeah, it should be a good one.
It's a second team. I had an opportunity to play on a couple of second teams. Guys with a lot of quality, guys that really wants to prove and show them that they can be on the first team, and so I know they're gonna come and propose their style, the way they play soccer, and I know it's going to be an interesting and a hard game.
45 minutes left in this one. Currently, your score is El Paso Locomotive 0, Real Monarch 0.
Long strike, a goal for Orange County. Lacroix and Duke Lacroix. This is dangerous, headed on frame. It is a goal for Orange County. And Corey Herzog, and he perfect basically places it. Hit toward the back post. In the air and through. Orange County. Reese Williams with some space. Williams curls it inside the 18. Soccer attempt and a beautiful strike on the bicycle for Lansing Ignite FC. Absolutely incredible. Elma N4. Are you kidding me? Going long distance, trying to connect with Sayone. And he puts it in the back of the net from long distance. Sending it forward. Here's another opportunity. And boy, you back of the net. That is what they've been looking to do all night long. 91st minute, we are tied at one apiece. Here's Mintz again. Mintz gets cross to the top of the knee. Moshomani left foot. Beautiful strike. Tumi Moshomani. Here comes North Texas on the attack. The strike and a goal.
Is this the moment? Jose Angulo! Dillon Stadium alive again! Martinez! What a way to secure a hat-trick! Douglas Martinez taking the spotlight!
To keep it out does the 17-year-old. Looked like it hit the heel of Forrester. And the Bold have the answer moments later. Guess who? Tierpak. Cervantes got the early rounds against the super sub. There's bodies up there. Yeah, there's bodies up there. Let's see this. This is where he shines. Cross that in, lets it through. Here's Partey. Can you believe that? What a strike. His second on the year. Tobiasi trying to pick out Brian Wright. Wright brings it down. Wright puts it in.
Welcome back, everybody, to El Paso, Texas. A warm summer's evening indeed, but a beautiful sunset. As we get ready for the second half, let's take a look at some of the scores around the rest of the USL Championship, as we are scoreless here between Locomotive FC and Real Monarchs FC. SLC. Hartford Athletic in Charleston. Hartford opened up its brand new stadium, but the Battery kind of ruining things. A 3-2 win off in the East. Indy 11, they have been on a tear over Loudoun United 2-0 in Indianapolis. Lou City loses to Bethlehem Steel FC in Louisville. They're about ready to open up their brand new stadium. 1-0, though, to Bethlehem City, or Bethlehem Steel. Ottawa Fury 4-0 over Swope Park Rangers in Ottawa. And in Pittsburgh, the Riverhounds over North Carolina FC 1-0. Tampa Bay Rowdies a big 3-1 win over St. Louis FC. That is a huge contest in the Eastern Conference. As we take a look at the standings in the United Soccer League here in the West, Phoenix Rising, they have now won 10 in a row. 41 points to top the West. And Rising FC are 12-0. They're perfect on their dollar beer night. I don't know that, maybe if that's good luck for home teams, maybe something they ought to consider in El Paso. Just saying, Andrew. Reno 1868 FC. Next, though, 35 points. They've been on something of a tear. Fresno FC, we saw that with the Locomotive FC on the road. 35 points in third. Austin Bold, they took one on the chin last night in Phoenix. 6-0. Austin Bold FC is in fourth. As we take a look at storylines. And as always, keep an eye Monday for the USL Championship Power Rankings as we take a look at storylines around the rest of the league. Head over to eplocomotivefc.com to read about the team's newest signings, defender Moses Makinde and attacking midfielder Sebastian Velasquez. We're going to hear from Sebastian shortly. And Brian Rebellon, mid-season defender winner, voted mid-season defender for his performance in the first half of the season there at right back. As we take a look at championship power rankings, that'll happen on Monday in USL at uslchampionship.com. Earlier this month, El Paso Locomotive signed Sebastian Velasquez, inactive last Wednesday, but he has been able to immerse himself into El Paso culture both on and off the field.
It's exciting, man. It's exciting because I got to see the game on Wednesday in the crowd, and the atmosphere that they bring to the stadium is quite unreal. So it definitely, as a soccer player, gives you a bit of excitement to know you have your number 12 is what we call it, 11 on the field, and number 12 is obviously the crowd. So obviously with the atmosphere, there's a lot of Latinos, a lot of Hispanics, so it's kind of easy with the culture and everything to be able to fit in quite easily. Oh, they have a great atmosphere, and they have a great style of play. It's quite simple. They're a team that doesn't like to lose the ball. They're a team that likes to keep it, to possess, to create chances, and that's what I'm about as well. It was the perfect fit. And so I'm excited to play under coach for the rest of the season, and hopefully I can give my best performances for the team. We need a turnaround. There's been a slump of a couple of games, but it happens. And as long as we can get 3 points tomorrow and get back on the other side of winning, and then we'll be fine for the rest of the season. The fans are very nice. People have made me feel welcome. So obviously I just have to come out and perform for the crowd.
Velasquez and his wife, who are expecting a child in about 2 weeks. Here from Southwest University Park, no score, Locomotive FC and Real Monarchs SLC. We'll take a break and be back with the first half highlights when we continue and get you ready for half number 2 from the Sun City. It's 0-0. Everybody, Locomotive FC, Real Monarchs SLC, 0-0 at the half. Duke Keith along with Michael Balogun with you. Let's take a look at our first half highlights. And in the very first minute of play, Sebastian Velasquez providing dividends for Omar Salgado, who rang the left post. Richie Ryan, this is off of a corner kick, beautifully delivered by James Kiffey. Alone at the far post, Ryan right into the waiting mitts of Andrew Putna. And that was followed by more. Sebastian Velasquez trying to tee one up from his fellow Colombiano, Brian Rebellon, just missing. Velasquez figuring on this one. Gebhardt trying to find Salgado, but just wide, and El Paso not able to make Real Monarchs pay. But Michael Balogun, as these teams get ready for the second half of play, I would think that El Paso and Mark Lowry have to be the happier of the two sides going into the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. They're happy with how they played in that first half. They're happy with the fact that they walked into that into halftime with a clean sheet. They're happy with the chances they created and the chances they limited Real from creating. So from that standpoint, they're happy with how that first half went. However, the score is still 0-0. They didn't get a goal. They created some chances, some half chances, but they didn't get the ball in the back end, and that's what they're going to look to improve in the second half.
Well, I'll tell you what has improved, and that is the score line after the first 45 minutes. It was 2-1 on Wednesday evening, and San Antonio FC would go on to score another in the second half Wednesday. So in that respect, it is job done through 45 minutes, and Mark Lowry certainly something to applaud. As Jermaine Forda replacing Logan Ketterer, who I saw up here in the press box at halftime. Nursing a quad strain, says he'll be back soon enough. Happens in the course of a long season. Summertime soccer is not the easiest thing to start anyway. Then you add a 38-game season into that, plus playoffs. Things will happen over the course of that time. Logan Ketterer, though. 8 shutouts, 8 clean sheets in the season. How about Chapa Herrera? All the way up it comes. Salgado trying to pull it back. Herrera's got it. Looking for someone to send it to. It's Salgado again. He'll roll it left. Ross. Herrera. Herrera will go far post, and he missed.
That's good heads-up play by Chapa Herrera, recognizing that Omar Salgado was making the run in behind him. Omar Salgado just holding on to that ball a little too long, not realizing that he was getting closed down by Noah Power and not able to get a shot off.
And I think with some solid work by Moberg and Conrad Plewa, they held Chapa Herrera at bay just long enough to force him to go another way. If he'd had an open shot, I would assume he'd take it. Plewa. Noah Powder. Powder with some room. You hear Jermaine Forda. I love the Nat sound because Forda will be the loudest voice in any room, even when the room has no roof. Here's Powder trying to cross it back up top for Etsundi. Didn't work the way they wanted it to go, and a foul right in the middle of the field. And another caution issued. This one coming to Jack Blake.
That has to be the third or second yellow card that Derek Gebhardt has drawn today. His ability to run with the ball, with his pace, causes a lot of problems for back lines and has caused a lot of problems for Real Monarchs in this game. So he's got to look to continue to do that for the Locomotive.
Well, these cards are going to add up for Real Monarchs. They have 3 now. It was Omar Salgado who earned the one out Okumu in the 21st minute, Luis Palma in the 42nd, and now Jack Blake in the 49th. You just get the feeling El Paso is missing that last ball. That's part of what I wanted to ask you after the first half of play. Obviously, defensively, it's an improvement, but offensively, what are your thoughts on this first half for Locomotive FC? Should they be up 1-0, 2-0?
With the amount of possession that they had in that first half and the chances they created, they definitely deserve to be at least a goal up. Obviously, Omar Salgado hits the post. Sebastian Velasquez is wide open inside the box and just misses the ball wide. Richie Ryan tries to head the ball back across the face of the goal and gets it right to the goalkeeper's hands. So they had plenty of chances in that first half where they should and probably could have capitalized. They should be happy with the chances created. However, they're missing that finisher, that goal scorer in Jerome Kiesewetter. So they need someone else to be able to step up for them.
And that one goes over the back line. It'll be a goal kick. They're trying to work Arriaga up the right wing, but it goes for naught. Fans, you can follow the El Paso Locomotive FC and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who I've already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com. 90% passing so far for Locomotive FC. And again, Real just can't find a way into the back. It will be a Real Monarchs throw-in, though.
You see the Real Monarch players really frustrated in that moment, thinking that Chaparrera handled the ball. From this replay, it looks like it does hit that left hand, and the referee just misses it.
Wow. It did indeed. And it was up, although I don't think he meant to play it. Nonetheless, it did appear to glance off of the hand, the left hand of Chaparrera. Here's a cross delivered wide up and over. Doesn't go where Real wants it to go. And Velasquez rolling it forward. Looking for Rebellon, but well sniffed out by Luis Palma.
Where the Locomotive have to be careful. Real Monarch already looked to have a bit more possession in this second half than they did in the first half. They pinned Locomotive back a couple of times into their defensive half. So they're going to have to pick and choose when they press and how they defend Real Monarch in the second half.
Jameson Olave, as you pointed out, a defender. As a matter of fact, 2010 MLS Defender of the Year for RSL. Velasquez escaping from Blake. Locomotive will maintain possession. But over 90% passes completed. Just looking for that payoff, which has not happened to this point. Long ball out of the back. Here's Becky. Oh, it will bounce nicely for Gebhardt. Gebhardt making a move. That was a miscalculation by the defense. Ross to the far post. Nobody in blue on the other side. Still in play, though, and Salgado will hunt it down. Salgado crossing. Lofts one. That would have been offside, I think, if it had made Ross. Deflected out, and Pliwa looks to be a little uncomfortable. It's actually Blake. Back comes El Paso. Velasquez. No time to dally. The back heel, Kiffy from Gebhardt. Has to back it out to Ross. Lots of blue jerseys in tight. Here's Kiffy to the back line, earns the corner. Solid job defending by Portillo, who's not happy with the call. Or the non-call after Blake was slow to get up.
Yeah, feeling that the referee should have stopped the play there with a player down inside the box. Locomotive weren't willing to kick the ball out. Probably not recognizing that they did have a player down.
Here is Kiffy's delivery to the near post. It goes, headed out by Okumu. Locomotive will spread it out a little bit. They'll throw it into Salgado. Back to Kiffy. Kiffy to the end line and earns another corner. There in front of him was Moberg, but puts it over the back line. Looking for a ball. Finally gets one. James Kiffy won a USL championship with Sacramento Republic in their very first season in 2014. Here's Kiffy's delivery. Near post again, headed out of trouble by Moberg.
See a little change in where those deliveries are going early in the first half. He aimed more towards the back post. Now it looks like Coach Mark Lowry's asking him to deliver it towards the near post. Locomotive have to work hard to get across their defender and be able to get a head onto that ball.
Well, there was one of the things Mark Lowry wanted to address in bringing Jerome Kiesewetter into the fold. It was the ability to get in a cross and make something happen with said cross. Again, El Paso Locomotive FC looking for its first win since July 15th. That part of the game has kind of disappeared. But a lot of teams are now keying on Jerome Kiesewetter, who again is out with an injury tonight. And certainly, if you know where the ball's going, you kind of know who to go after, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely drawing a lot of attention with 10 goals. I believe it was 10 goals in 10 games.
Yes.
So I'd imagine in the scout reports for visiting teams or opponents, he was the first name on that sheet. So now it's an opportunity for someone else in the team to step up and start scoring goals for the Locomotive. The likes of Omar Salgado, the mark of Derek Gebhardt, the likes of Sebastian Velasquez. Those guys have to step up and relieve some of the pressure on Jerome Kiesewetter.
Coming off the field, Luis Arriaga being replaced by Kyle Coffey, has a couple of goals this season. Coffey hailing from Syracuse, Utah. Population 30,000 or so. He is the first Division I college player from Syracuse. Played his college soccer at the University of Washington. Derek Gebhardt tangling with Noah Powder, and that'll on Locomotive FC a throw-in. Rather, Real Monarchs. Kyle Coffey. Can he inject a little energy into this Real Monarchs attack? A little caffeine.
A caffeine pun?
That is definitely a caffeine pun. That came straight from our booth, which makes me think they have way too much time on their hands tonight. I don't know. Conrad Plewa. Wallington, New Jersey, by way of Poland. Here's a young man who suffered a stroke in 2016, returned to help win a title. That was in his days with Red Bull 2. Long cross into the box. You hear Jermaine Forta. He didn't have to deal with a whole lot in the end. And here is Gebhardt ready to make a run. And that is put into touch away from Velasquez by a sliding Conrad Plewa. So how about that? Guy suffers a stroke while he's playing, comes back from that stroke and helps Red Bull 2 win a USL championship in 2016.
That just tells me he's a fighter.
Chop Herrera, nice pull back. The El Pasoan, of course, Chapa's story making headlines around these parts, and you know that there are so many other Chapa Herreras out there in El Paso. Very talented youngsters who never maybe got a second look by a college scout. Good long ball out of the back. Good thought for Salgado. That will be a throw-in for El Paso. You have the guys like Omar Salgado from El Paso, the guys with the pedigree. As they roll that one into Salgado, Looking to combine a little bit with Velasquez. It didn't quite work out and cleared out of trouble by Moberg. But then you have the Chaparrera, working construction in El Paso. Earned an open tryout with Locomotive FC. Earned a second tryout and a third. And Mark Lowry felt confident enough in giving that young man a contract. Father of a baby boy. Already had started living his adult life by the age of 22. And what a story.
Obviously, with the injury to Yuma early in this season, he's gotten a lot of minutes. I don't see him coming off even when Yuma does return into the lineup. He's proved himself to be an important part to this group. He does so much off the ball for them in terms of his energy defensively and how hard he works. He covers so much ground. It's unbelievable.
Well dealt with by Drew Becky and Richie Ryan to head it back to Jermaine Forta as they try to start the wave here at Southwest University Park. It's really only two-sided. I guess you could do the big doghouse off behind Locomotive FC's bench. And then the GECU green seats, which for my money, if I was coming to a game, that would be absolutely perfect. Spread out and watch it from a hill. Tune into ESPN3 July 24th. A special afternoon edition of Wednesday Night Soccer is coming for you. A surging Reno 1868 FC. Whoop, we'll keep that for a little bit. Gebhardt sliding it through. Velasquez trying to keep control. Well stolen. Noah Powder does his work. Can't hang on to it, and here's Kiffey. Lets one rip. Well wide. To complete that thought, Reno 1868 FC into Orange County to meet an OCSC side looking to climb closer to a playoff berth. See it all July 24th on ESPN3. Although, frankly, they have not been tested a great deal. What are your thoughts about Jermaine Forta and the El Paso back line through this point here in the 63rd minute?
Much better in this game in terms of how connected Drew Becky and Andrew Fox have been. They've done a much better job keeping an eye on the center forward for OKC. They're going to have to continue to do that and make sure Etundi does not get in behind him. He's shown some pace. He's shown the willingness to try to run in behind. So as long as they keep an eye on him and they're aware of his movement, they'll be fine.
But certainly the foot is off the gas for Real Monarchs. Jameson Olave, very defensive shape coming into this match. For as many goals as they scored, and again, 5th in the USL Championship, in 7th place and in a playoff position, right behind El Paso Locomotive. They would love to take any points. Though if this remains a scoreless draw, Locomotive would stay 1 point ahead. Locomotive, though, they want to win. Chaparrera, nice release into space for Velasquez. Velasquez trying to get around. Good job by Pliwa, who earns the foul. Velasquez called for the harm. Until he doesn't agree, but I think the referee, at least from the back, saw that arm. I don't think he saw Pliwa's little shirt tug at the last, though.
Looks like both players are tugging on the jersey. The referee felt Sebastian Velasquez either initiated or he was just a little too aggressive with the shirt tug. Calling a foul on that one. We've seen the game die down quite just a little bit here in the second half. Both teams being going with the patient approach. However, not really creating many opportunities to get shots on goal.
Becky will take a crack up the left wing side looking for Salgado, and that is not on target. Locomotive FC, as you might imagine, 63% possession to this point of the game. They'll get the ball back. Here is Chaparrera, turned aside for the corner kick. Putna had to get down.
That's a great hit. That's well done by the Locomotive, winning the ball in the midfield, driving forward, looking to get an opportunity, finding Chaparrera's feet, and he takes a touch, preps it, and strikes it well. Unlucky not to find the bottom left corner of the goal. As the goalkeeper at full stretch, getting a fingertip on that save.
Well done by Chaparrera from a good 22 yards out. Here is Kiffy's delivery on the corner. Back to the far post they go. Headed back in by Fox, trying to sneak one in at near post for him. And Putna had his angles covered. But again, Locomotive go to the far post, and it's virtually a free header for whoever's back there in blue.
Players at the back post have to do a better job of heading the ball back across the face of the goal. Not looking to score themselves, but looking to set someone else up. That second ball towards initially the near post is going to be crucial in those moments.
And here's Blake. Blake trying to get something working against Chaparrera, who's backing him off the ball. Powder, Blake, stopped by Velasquez. Velasquez will roll one to Gebhardt, play on. Gebhardt making some moves, trying to get to the left, drops it. Velasquez goes left foot, and it's deflected by Powder. Derek Gebhardt scored the first Locomotive FC goal in the team's history. He has scored one other since, but so many players stuck at two. Contreras, Salgado.
It's in partida.
Partida. Nick Ross.
They've definitely spread out the contribution. However, players on two have to step up. Those are the players that they're counting on to get them 6, 7 goals of the year. If they can get every single one of those players you just listed on 7, 6, 8 goals over the course of the year, that will put them in great positions going into the playoff.
Another corner for El Paso. Kiffy. Right into the middle this time, headed out of trouble by Moberg. And it's going to be a foul. Rebellon doesn't agree with the call, but Etundi getting tangled. Rebellon with a word for Kalin Radosov, who listens to the complaint. Respectfully delivered with your hands behind your back, regardless of what the words might be.
And your hands over your mouth so no one knows what you're really saying.
There are cameras. And slow motion and instant replay and all that good stuff. Coffee puns or not, our crew here at Southwest University Park does a stellar job. Keeping us in the know, keeping the pictures flowing. Richie Ryan. Ross the one time. First time to Salgado, and flag is up. Ross's pass to Salgado was off. The results are in. Head coach Mark Lowry finished 6th in the voting for best dressed coach. First place went to Troy Lesane from New Mexico. Just because he wears that suit and tie. Mark Lowry should get extra points for wearing that sweater. Nice long ball, trying to chest it down. No penalty called.
And you see the Real Monarch players immediately swarm the referee, feeling that the player got pummeled as he went up for that ball, as he looked to bring it down on his chest. James Kiffey's a very, very lucky man not to have that called on him. There was some contact from the back, but the referee not feeling it was enough, not feeling that it put the player off.
Coffey taken down by Kiffey. And I will say it looked like his arm left his body in defending that ball from the back. Real will take the short corner. Powder to the back post and nobody's there. Well, Real perhaps unlucky not once but twice. Kiffey's foul and the handball by Chaperera, although you might say Chaperera probably didn't know a whole lot about the ball that was headed his way. And we will apparently have a second half hydration break, as you would imagine. Temperatures have probably not dipped below 90 degrees, though the sun set an hour ago. And a beautiful sunset it was. Clouds are starting to come in. Our understanding is that the hot streak here in El Paso, at least the El Paso area, should be done on Monday. Real Monarchs challenging in again from the right. Delivered to Blake. The shot is wide. I think he scooped it. Didn't go anywhere near where he wanted it to. Crossed back in and another corner forthcoming. Challenging from the left is Palma. Rebellon, good job to keep his position. But off of Palma, and it'll be a goal kick. Sometimes you can hear it on the mic, that double touch.
Referee does a good job to put himself in a position to see it come off of Palma.
And Locomotive FC continues with the possession game. You will never see Mark Lowry's team just pin their ears back and go up the field unless somebody's just wide open. They move as a unit. Technical possession-based soccer. Kiffey, Ross into the middle. Ryan rolls one, trying to find Velasquez. Good thought, but Jack Blake saw that one coming a mile away. And here is Powder to the middle in Portillo. Coffey to the right. Mikel Chang looking into the middle. Well done. Forta's going to keep this one moving, and for some reason Etundi just stopped. I'm not sure he knew the situation. The ball's still live, and Forta afforded an opportunity to just come back and deal with it. Now there's a foul. And Etundi getting frustrated. Chaperera. Let's take a look at that one-on-one battle in the box. Is Chaperera saying he left a little extra in for me here. Didn't go anywhere near where he wanted it to. Crossed back in, and another corner forthcoming. Wow, did that hit Luis Palma? Apparently they say it did. Well, credit Real Monarchs, they've been slowly kind of working their way into things on the attack, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. In the second half, you've seen Michael Chang, get on the ball a little bit more. He's the next danger man for Real Monarch with Douglas Martinez out of this game. When he gets involved for Real Monarch, it's a good thing. It's a good sign. So you've seen him come alive a little bit more in this second half. We'll see how the Locomotive really adjusts to that and how they monitor his movement.
And again, that's interesting. Douglas Martinez. We could talk about Jerome Kiesewetter, the 10-goal man missing for El Paso. Real Monarchs missing their 9-goal man and defending player of the week for Real Monarchs, Douglas Martinez. Trying to find Ross. But hard to beat the 6'4" Okumu coming up for that header. Herrera close to the hydration break now from what we hear. Velasquez. Really not a lot of room for him. Real Monarchs making sure their former teammate was well marked. Fox will slide it left for Kiffey. Kiffey making some moves, gets an angle. Kiffey earns another corner. And that is going to be our hydration break. When we return, El Paso will have the corner kick coming up. As you see, Mark Lowry, always sharply dressed. Again, here's a guy who wore that good luck sweater. And there it is. That's the picture on the right. Nominated for Best Dressed Head Coach. He finished 6th in the voting for Best Dressed Head Coach in the USL Championship. That honor went to Troy Lesane of New Mexico United. But Mark Lowry, that sweater saw some action. And right now, they have just started at the USL Championship website, uslchampionship.com. Omar Salgado nominated for Best Dressed Player. Right now, he is in 3rd. You can vote for Omar at uslchampionship.com. And we're talking, what do you wear into the locker room? Omar's always sharply dressed. And a double substitution during this hydration break for El Paso. Sebastian Contreras will come in for Omar Salgado. Speaking of Omar, and Edson Partida will make his way onto the field as well. So Seba Contreras in for Salgado, and Derek Gebhardt replaced by Edson Partida here in the officially 78th minute. So bringing a little firepower. Don't tell me Mark Lowry doesn't want to win this game.
Yeah, when you bring two players, when you have the luxury of bringing players like Sebastian Contreras and Edson Partida off the bench, you're definitely looking to get more out of this game than a 1 point win or 1 point draw. I'm sorry.
So the double sub as we restart things, and it will be a corner kick as we come back from the hydration break. Colin Radosov's whistle is sounded. It's a low driver. Velasquez, like they tried to work a little training ground move. Ross has that one deflected, and we do it again from the same spot. James Kiffey has been the man to do the corners on both sides. Outswinger, far post, driven away. Heading that one out of trouble is Okumu. Atundi. Back to Atundi as Powder takes a seat. He's down. Portillo rolls one. Play on they go. Jack Blake. Out along the left side for Coffey. Right at Jermaine Forda. And Forda. That's the first shot on target for Real Monarchs tonight. But right at the Englishman.
You see how quickly they can break. Getting up the field quickly in 2 passes. Finding the feet of Kyle Coffey.
They'll send it back to Portillo. Powder. Play what? And all the way off to the right and back again. Into the 80th minute. Real Monarchs, they would be content with a point, but you know Locomotive FC wants to win this game. Partida trying to get started, doesn't work. He'll get a foot in to put it into touch. Michael Chang on the ball. And there you see Jameson Olave. The former RSL Defender of the Year in 2010. And a solid organization to be a part of. They have their soccer-specific stadium. They have an excellent coaching staff. And one of those small market teams that always seems to make a lot of noise in Major League Soccer.
Absolutely, they do a terrific job of getting players to buy in to the culture within the club.
Here's Chang. Chang rolls one, and that one's deflected as they tried the shot. Chang able to get it to Etundi, and Fordo will pick it up to keep it out of trouble.
That was a strange way to get the ball back to Jermaine Forder, but it worked. Andrew Fox getting on all fours and heading the ball back to Jermaine Forder from the ground.
Whatever works. Obviously, he can't kick it, can't body it. Boy, I guess it could come off the chest. As Rebellon's dragged down by Coffey. Substitution coming for Real Monarchs. Kalen Ryden is in for Luis Palma here in the 82nd minute. Ryden was the player who was red carded in the first half against El Paso Locomotive in mid-March. Native of Norman, Oklahoma. Kiffey going back to Ross. Locomotive trying to find a way through. Rebellon. Contreras first action on the night. You talk about the double pivot of Richie Ryan and Yuma in the back. How about a pivot up front with two number 10s? That might not necessarily be Contreras' role. Looks like he's a little more advanced. Here's Partida trying to make it work. It's on Partida. Velasquez. Velasquez is going to earn El Paso another corner. That's amazing. James Kiffey. Eighth notch is up and drumming. Kiffey outswinger to the far post, knotted down by Fox, but partially deflected as Fox ran into Powder on his way to putting that shot in.
Like he just came down on the left shoulder of Powder. As I watch the last part of this game, I can't help but be baffled at the amount of lefties on the field for the Locomotives.
Left-footed shots abound, huh?
They currently have 6 left-footers on the field. That is rare. Have that many left-footers on the field at the same time.
Is it a little bit like right-handed versus left-handed? There are just not that many left-footed shots as opposed to right-footed?
There are plenty of left-footed players out there, but to have 6 on the field at once.
Chaperera sticks with it and is rewarded. Here is Contreras. Lofts one into the box. Ross flashing out too far ahead. Good thought.
That's a good look from Sebastian Contreras, and that's the quality of a player like him. Not really needing a lot of space, not really needing a lot of time to turn and find or try to find Nick Ross.
Fox back to Becky. Becky with a little room. Rebellon into the 85th minute. The game there for the taking for Locomotive FC, which has certainly generated the majority of the chances tonight. Can they grab it by the scruff of the neck in the final 5 plus stoppage? Partida. Chaperera, it's a late call, but it's a call. And Herrera draws the foul. Perhaps waiting just a touch to see who gets advantage.
A great position for James Kiffey to come over and serve a ball into the box. We've seen him deliver some quality services so far in this game.
Kiffey and Contreras back. What training ground move might Mark Lowry have up his sleeve? They will leave it indeed for James Kiffey. Kiffey swings it in. Far post headed out. There's that big 6'4" frame of Stanley Okumu. Right back comes Kiffey, though, who has appeared to switch off to the right. In again. Double teamed in the middle, though, is Drew Becky. And again, Okumu able to clear it out. Hard to steer it by 6'4", isn't it? Flashing out of the back, Rebellon making a move. Rebellon, the loft to the far post. Again, Okumu. He'll roll it into touch for El Paso.
He's done well reading the flight of those balls. Not necessarily, not really picking up a man, just floating and.
Partida to the back line, keeps it in. In touch, courtesy of Real Monarchs. Kiffey from Ross rolls a nice one, give and go. Seba Contreras earns another corner kick. Velasquez and Contreras combining. Take the short corner this time. Looking far post, too many white jerseys. Rebellon on the volley, and it's offside as it hits Edson Partida. Linesman's flag immediately went up. Good thought by Brian Rebellon. And we're going to have to deal with some turf. Apparently there is such a thing as turf staples. But good job by Sebastian Velasquez, who gets a round of applause from 8th Notch. He's doing everything. Midfield playmaker, groundskeeper. Putna will slap this one back up the way. The back header by Becky. Jermaine Forda, who has really only been challenged once, and it was straight to him. Velasquez looks like he's going to go the full 90, which is a little bit surprising, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's done well in this game. Featured quite a bit in the first half. Has been a little quiet, a little bit more quiet in the second half.
Bryant. Contreras. Fox and Richie Ryan again. Chaperera. Velasquez off the chest. Velasquez left-footed bounce and a little too tall for a waiting at zone partida. And a goal kick forthcoming. Skiffy blasts it over the back line.
Very ambitious from James Kiffey, looking to hit that first time on the volley.
Look at the Western Conference standings. El Paso looking to maintain at least 6th position. At Entundi, apparently his night is almost done. Steve Yasso about ready to come into the game as of the next stoppage. Right now, though, it'll be Andy Fox. Over to Becky. A little bit of room for Brian Rebellon. Sends one to a spot. It will bounce its way to Contreras. Kind of hopped off the turf. Powder couldn't handle, but they can't make it stick. And here is Jack Blake. Blake. All ball, says our referee, Alan Radoslav. Players bouncing all over the place. If there was a foul, they're playing advantage. Partida to the left. A little too tall for Ross, but the Scotsman goes to get it. Contreras. Ross. Partida. Back to James Kiffey. It comes now to Richie Ryan. How much stoppage time will we see? At least 2 minutes. Looks like it's going to be 3. Contreras to the back line. That should be another corner. Nope, goal kick. And cramps. Pleo has put in some serious minutes tonight. And I believe we will have 3-minute stoppage time first of all, and now we have the substitution. Etundi coming off. And Yasso coming on. In the 90th minute officially. And there is the official signal for 3 minutes of stoppage. So 3 minutes and some change maybe for El Paso to make something happen. Or Real Monarchs, as the case may be. If things bounce properly, here's Richie Ryan though to control. Ross. Can Locomotive FC make something out of these final few moments? Ross with it. Ryan. Partida. Just gets run off the ball, although Moberg lets it roll into touch. Kiffy. Ross. Little exchange with James Kiffy. Back to Ross again. Looking to deliver across. They'll get it to Contreras. Little scoop move and another corner kick. Guess what? Contreras will take this one. Outswinger far post. Up and in. No, it is stopped. Becky gets there. Rebellon called for the foul. Dangerous play. Good work by Andrew Putna. As Becky got there, put it low, but Putna was on his horse.
Sebastian Contreras doing a great job serving that ball early before Real Monarchs can get set, giving Drew Becky a chance to run onto the ball as he's making his way inside the box. Unfortunate not to get the ball in the back of the net. Great save by Putna.
And it is appearing for all the world to be that both of these teams will split the points. Seconds remaining. Jermaine Fordov falls to the ground. About half a minute. Of course, official time being kept on the field by Kalin Radosov. That one's a bit of a miscommunication. Still moving, though, for the men in blue. Herrera. Richie Ryan. Up it'll come, Partida. They deny him an opportunity to cut in. Ross with it. Ryan. Up to Rebellon. Last-ditch efforts. Contreras crossing. Lifted back up, and that is pretty much going to kill this off. Still, though, back to Contreras. Lofts in the cross, hipped out. Swing and a miss. It'll be a throw in for El Paso. Last moments of the game. They will allow the throw in. Rebellon. Contreras. That one's kind of off of him. Another throw in. And that is going to do it. 0-0 is our score. Locomotive do earn their 29th point. That will move them up to 5th position, tied with Austin Bold in points. Austin Bold with the nod based on goal differential, but 0-0 here today. Real Monarchs will fill the spot El Paso had in 6th position in the Western Conference, pending any other action this weekend. But a hard 90 minutes for both teams. Let's take a quick look at that last shot. Brian Rebellon. Off the corner, Contreras. I think it was Becky. Putna gets it down, though, and that might have provided the difference. 0-0 is our score. Back to wrap things up right after this.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
Welcome back, everybody, to El Paso, Texas, and Southwest University Park. Your final score tonight, 0-0 draw between Locomotive FC, which moves up to 5th in the Western Conference. They earn a big point trying to just get into things versus Real Monarchs, who were defensive, but did a very good job of doing exactly that. 0-0. Locomotive FC certainly will feel the more hard done by. They created a lot of chances as we take a look at the second half highlights. Chaperera blasts one from 25, but Putna getting down to preserve the shutout. A clean sheet. That'll be his second. That coming from Andrew Fox, a little slow roller, almost a seeing eye shot. Here's Coffey taking a only shot of the game for Real Monarchs, but Jermaine Forda, speaking of clean sheets, he gets one too. At the very last, though, Becky with the header. Rebellon called for the foul right after that for dangerous play, and that would be the way things wrap up. I guess, Michael, if there's anybody who's a man of the match, it's that man right there, Jermaine Forda, clean sheet, and that's the first thing Mark Lowry looks for in any match.
Yeah, absolutely. I think defensively they were better in this game than they were on Wednesday against San Antonio. I think offensively they're still missing that extra goal score. They can't rely just on Jerome Kiesewetter to do it all for them, especially when he's injured. So with him being out, this is an opportunity for other guys to step up and say, hey, I can be that guy that provides goal scoring as well. So they're looking for goal scoring from anyone in the group at this moment. Sebastian Velasquez looks like he can be that guy. However, it's going to take him a couple of games to get used to the group, to get back into game shape and be able to provide goals for the group.
Well, if the next game is any indication, he might have that big stage to really show himself, because it's going to be at New Mexico United on the last day of July. Locomotive will be happy to take a week and a half rest and try to be ready for this big end-of-the-month match versus United, which is right now 9th in the Western Conference table. They will certainly be looking to restart their season as well. From Michael Ballaghan, I'm Duke Keith. Their final score again from Southwest University Park. It is El Paso Locomotive 0, Real Monarchs 0. For our entire crew, our thanks for your watching this evening, and we will look to see you when the Locomotive takes on Portland Timbers 2 on August 3rd. Until then, so long, everybody.